Oh, wait, hang on. We're not live. Now we're live. Maybe we were live that whole time. I don't know. We're definitely live now.
Who knows?
Who knows? We're definitely live now. Hello, YouTube.
Definitely. Hey, YouTube.
Hope you guys are doing well.
It's good to see you.
Oh, there's the notification. All right.
Got the notification. We're good.
Yeah, we took 1 week of streaming on YouTube, and I forgot how the whole thing works. But hope you guys are doing well. Welcome in. Johnny's on his way. That's what this box down here. Why it's our Discord box. I think he's on his way. But anyways, hope you guys are all doing well. Hopefully, if you're like me, your NFL team won their divisional game this weekend. Having a good time. And
oh, man, there's so many things.
Lions world. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on.
There's actually so many things.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here.
Yeah, and for that, so what I'm thinking is like I'll have like a little sound effect that's just like a baseball bat, and then crowd, wah, and then it like cuts to the next thing. So I think I'll explain it when Johnny gets here. But I think like if someone just wants to literally like explain like for example like just say the thing about AT&T Stadium likely being the host, then we can talk about it for a minute if we have thoughts, and then. But I didn't want the whole show to just be football, since that's the way it will be the next 2 shows anyways, with the championship and Super Bowl and whatnot.
That's so funny. Okay. I'm looking at some of your Twitter links. There is, you've seen that color conspiracy too, right?
Oh yeah. The Super Bowl color conspiracy.
Yeah. Because it's the same 2 teams. So that could be fun. Let's see here. No, I like that. Cause that, yeah. Man. Yeah. I do want to, yeah, these are all ones that we can, I'll take AT&T Stadium.
Yeah.
That is a stadium that, like all of us, I've not been to. So
yeah,
I can totally, but I've definitely looked at it from a closer perspective than you two.
Yeah.
I drive by it every time I go to Globe Life.
Yeah, I like it. You can talk about the Bears OC hire, says Austin.
Oh.
Did they hire an OC? I'm assuming they did. You wouldn't.
Jim
Did I know
Harbaugh.
About this?
Oh, Shane
Waldron.
This
happened? Oh, this happened 10 hours ago.
Yeah. Oh. You know.
Okay. Shane Waldron.
Oh, that's right. I need to hold on. I'm gonna do a deep dive on Bill O'Brien real quick.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's a lot of offensive coordinators being hired. None for Iowa, but everybody else has one.
Now Iowa didn't need one. They're gonna get a better defense next year.
Johnny and I were talking about that. Like Brian Ferentz was by no means a good offensive coordinator, but whenever poor soul ends up with that job, it's going to be a reminder that Kirk Ferentz is really the one slowing things down. And maybe I'm speaking the obvious, but Austin, though, I think that's a good hire. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Let me know what you think about it. But I missed this news. This happened this morning. It looks like. But I mean, I feel like this is good. I mean, the Seahawks were up and down offensively the last 3 years, but I felt like their problems were mostly defense.
Mm-hmm. All right. What can I get rid of? I'm going to get rid of this.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. That was a need for them. Question is, do they bring him in to be the OC for Justin Fields, or are they bringing him in to be the OC of Caleb Williams? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good.
We're talking about the Bears offensive coordinator.
Did they, is that official?
It seems like it. Yeah. Well, at least there's sources, a lot of sources saying they're hiring ex-Seahawks OC Shane Waldron. I think is probably
they're not hiring Cliff Kingsbury.
Apparently not.
I thought we were going with Cliff when they said that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they should have hired Greg Roman, who they did interview. That felt like, well, I should say this. That felt like the right hire if you were sticking with Justin Fields.
Sure.
Right.
Like if you're sticking with Justin Fields, I actually think Greg Roman and what he did with Lamar in his early years would have actually been a really, really good hire.
Yeah.
But whatever. I am good when you guys are ready to go. I kept you waiting a while.
Oh no,
so.
you're good. I think I'm good too. I was telling Josh as
I am
far
all
as
good, though.
quick hits, like I'll have a little sound effect that plays in between like each little section, so we don't necessarily need to segue. Like, I mean, we can. But I'll cut it. I'll make a hard cut in post editing, anyways. So really, we just need like if there's one like Josh is covering the AT&T Stadium, I'm covering Sports Illustrated. Johnny, if there's any of those that you want to just basically like intro for like 20 seconds, then we jump in. Or if there's something that's not on that list. But also we don't have to go through everything because who knows how long we'll be with NFL stuff.
Right.
But I wanted to get to some other stuff that's happening outside of just
NFL. Yep. Yeah, there's the Australian Open.
Yeah.
There's the I mean, if Google Drive will ever work for me, I could just look at the show notes. Did you put on like OSU women's basketball?
I did not. That'd be good too.
Say that.
I'll talk about that.
All right, I'll type it on there.
I don't know why Google Drive is revolting against me, but
Yeah.
Larry
There
Page
we go.
wants you to have fun. He hates the fun you're having.
Yep. All right, let me hit record and then I think I'm ready.
Check. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
check. Recording's good on my end. I'm ready to go.
All right, I'm good as well. Welcome to the show. Got a packed show. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of football that happened. There's a lot of just random sports news. We've got it all for you here. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for listening. Before we jump into our very packed list of things to talk about, though, Johnny, what's up, man? How's your week?
Good week. Trying to remember what day was it we last recorded, Aaron? Had I survived the snowboarding already?
Yes, you had lived. It was Tuesday, late Tuesday night. We were a little unhinged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny,
that's what I forgot because
point
that's
out,
like a week ago.
Yeah.
I want to point out,
Josh?
Johnny, that you had to ask when we recorded and if you had recovered might be an indication that you did not.
That might be an indication that I've had 3 concussions in the past, Josh. I don't know if that has anything to do with the snowboarding this time around.
At least 3.
At least 3 is the proper way to phrase that. You are correct, my friend. You are
Get into one of those giant tents and check yourself out real quick.
But I'm doing well. Haven't been sleeping a lot. Partially not on purpose, partially because we got the Aussie Open going on down in Melbourne in Australia, our friends down there, which has been super fun. Lot of really incredible youthfulness going on. There's kind of a wave of youth coming through the tennis circuit now. You know, if you follow the men's especially, you know those guys are getting up. Like Federer retired, Nadal's way up there, Djokovic is way up there. You know, like he's still finding a way to win some of these majors, but he's fallen off a little bit and just out of age. Serena retired a couple years ago. And so the women's game's been wide open since. It's still wide open. So really fun. It's always cool to see like a 17-year-old girl like make it to the round of 16, like just beating some highly seeded opponents. And then she's like, yeah, that's my idol. And that like, what other sport does that really happen in? So watch some tennis. Yeah. It's on ESPN2 most of the time. You don't have to stay up till 4 a.m. if you don't want to. It's on later too. So watch some tennis.
Yeah, I agree with that. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I am in my final semester, started my final semester of grad school courses. You guys know what that's like because you finished your degrees 9 years ago at this point, it feels like.
Correct.
I took one of them. I took one of them long master's degrees. Side note, don't do it. If you want a master's degree, that's awesome. Don't do one that is 120 credit hours. Just don't. You know what I could have gotten in that? A PsyD. I could have gotten...
Sure, but Josh, your time of possession for your master's class is incredible. Yep, you're controlling the game.
Fun. Yep. And what's really fun about that is that actually once I finish this degree program, I'm actually qualified to make less money than I would have with just my bachelor's degree. It's super cool. But no, as a slight consolation prize, my professor I'm only in 2 classes this semester. One will finish up by March, and the other one, my professor was like, "Hey, are you graduating?" I told him I am, and he's like, "Awesome. Don't take the final. Don't bother."
Wow. Hey,
That's
So
great.
amazing.
I'm just floating right now.
Oh, nice.
I'm doing great.
That's great.
Josh,
And-
why didn't you try that method the other years?
Because that would have
Are
been
you graduating this year?
Yep.
that would have been a lie.
Yes.
I would have lied, and I think we've gone over this. I signed a contract specifically stating that I would not lie when I was
Oh.
down here.
Interesting.
It's against the rules to lie here
Oh,
at seminary
Yeah.
when we learn about Jesus.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Well, Josh, that's
Little
good
niche
news.
thing.
I'm excited that there's no final for you. That's good. My week's been good as
Amazing.
well. I don't know if I have really anything notable other than the most obvious thing is that the Lions have won another playoff game. So that's really been the highlight yet again of my week. I was actually kind of more expecting this win to happen when I saw that our opponent was Tampa Bay. And they got the job done, made it a little bit more nerve-wracking than it probably needed to be, even with 34 seconds left in the game. But, a win's a win. And
Aaron, you knew there wouldn't be any more points, though. I told you that.
never
5 minutes
watch
to
a
go,
game you
Josh.
care about with Johnny if Johnny simultaneously does not care.
Josh, there's like 6 minutes left, and I told Aaron, I'm like, Aaron, don't worry. Nobody else will score. And
Oh,
nobody
you-
did.
Which is
Literally,
crazy to
because
me.
I said it right after Tampa scored the touchdown,
uh,
full well not meaning the extra point, and then they went for 2 and
For some
didn't
unknown
even
reason.
get that.
yeah.
I still can't explain. Not that determined the game, of course, but
But
I still don't know
Ooh.
what Todd Bowles was thinking.
I don't either.
Anyway,
Anyway,
that's
who
fine.
does?
so
I feel
that was,
bad. I mean,
yeah.
I would love to say real quick,
Yeah.
and I think this is just another hit at the Browns unintentionally, but I just want to say,
Make
like,
it
major
intentional,
props.
Josh.
hey, screw you, Browns. This is what you get for hiring Watson.
Yep.
I feel bad a little bit for Baker Mayfield because I feel like, but at the same time, I'm very happy for him and the career he's had so far. This season finished out at just over 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, a playoff victory, only 10 interceptions.
that too.
Only 10 interceptions.
Yep.
I am a professional,
Yep.
not in podcasting. So the
Professional
So I
truth
just-
teller.
professional truth teller,
Mm.
contractually obligated to not lie.
Mhm.
So trust me when I say I'm glad he's out of the Browns.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's somewhere else.
Yeah. He's been really good. And
And you know what? I
Yeah.
forgive him for the time he planted a flag in the middle of Ohio Stadium.
Mm.
Water under the bridge.
I don't know if I'm that quite there yet, but that's okay.
I also signed a thing on my contract that says I'm supposed to forgive. So
Okay, fine. I do want to say hello real quick. Both Danielle and Austin in our YouTube chat are saying hello. So hello. Thanks for joining us, and you can join us, you the listener. We do stream this show. I was about to say every week, but then there's some weeks where we record late on a Tuesday night, and I'm out in the kitchen, so as to attempt to not wake up my wife. So anyways, most of the time we stream on our YouTube channel, so just search Fifth and Goal Sports on YouTube, and there we are. And you can come hang out with us as we record. You can interact. You can give your thoughts on the things we're talking about. And as we've talked about already, the things we're talking about is a lot of NFL playoffs. So let me just set the stage. If you just, I don't know, if you went on a weekend snowboarding trip and you died, here's what happened. Here's what you missed. In the AFC, Baltimore, Houston, they were tied at halftime. It looked like Houston might give Baltimore some troubles. And then the Ravens go on a 24-0 run in the second half. And the final score is 34-10. Baltimore cleans up the Houston Texans. Still a tremendous year for CJ Stroud, for that entire team, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, all of it. We talked about it last week. A really, really good season, and I'm excited to see what they do next year. So good for them, but Baltimore, they take care of business in the end. The other game in the AFC is Buffalo versus Kansas City, round 3 in the postseason, and it ended basically the same way that the other two games went. And it ended in typical Buffalo fashion, in sheer tragedy. A kick that would have tied the game with under 2 minutes remaining sails wide right. As a Buckeye fan, especially, I feel bad, but I just feel bad anyways. Johnny, we were watching this game together.
Poor Buffalo.
Buffalo, you poor people. Because we were
They
talking
don't
about
deserve
this.
this.
The difference between Lions fans and Bills fans are, even though there's been a lot of sadness for the Bills, they've been consistently good recently, but even historically, like to get to 4 Super Bowls in a row, that's a feat just by itself. To lose all 4 in a row, that's just horrible. I feel
Tragic.
terrible. The Lions are obviously on the other end of the spectrum, equally sad, but just bad. And the Bills just cannot get past this round. They especially cannot get past the Chiefs.
Any other like period in the AFC, they'd be incredibly dominant. But like you have to get through so many solid teams. Like like it was theoretically this was their year. This is probably the most inconsistent and most question marks we have seen from Mahomes and his receiving team. Bengals are pretty much were gonna sit this one out halfway through with Joe Burrow's injury. Like this was the year. Steelers, we didn't know what was going on. Like this was it. And like it is you would have still had to get to the Ravens, but at the very least there was a fighting chance to at least make the conference championship. And
they would have had a great chance against the Ravens. Yeah.
Absolutely they would have. So feel bad. Josh Allen looks like one of the hardest workers out there. And again, he was not perfect. We're not gonna one missed kick to tie a game does not, no one ever plays a perfect game. But like he's one of the hardest workers in the league right now. And I would love they should have thrown another person in the pit, frankly, just in case. But
and I understand
it's hard to see. Yeah, it's hard to see.
That note,
Josh
Allen's cap hit really starts next year too.
It really does.
It really was. This was the year
like
for
doubles,
the Bills. They were
triples.
home. I mean, they were home last year against the Bengals too. But last year you would have had to beat the Bengals at home and then go to Arrowhead. This year you're at home again. Like the last 2 years they've lost at home. They've even been home. That's all you could ask for. Now, Cincinnati and Kansas City aren't warm weather teams. So that advantage is not as great as it is sometimes in the NFC, you know, when Green Bay gets a home game, that it's not the same, but still. And I know it does need to be said. The Bills defense was just gutted by injuries this year.
Yes.
The problem is
truly
Josh Allen's cap hits next year. That's what the team will look like going forward. Because you won't have those, they won't be hurt, but they just won't be on the team. You won't be able to afford those guys, much like Patrick Mahomes. All of a sudden, you have no receivers, my friend, no receivers at all. Well, that's because your cap hit went into effect. So, man, I just feel for them. I feel for Buffalo. Aaron, what you just said, like that's brutal. It felt early in the game like they could run on Kansas City. That dried up late, and that really hurt them too. The field goal didn't cost them, like in and of itself. Stephon Diggs dropped a perfectly thrown deep ball that killed.
That was one of the best thrown balls I've seen.
It was such a good throw. And you're right, Josh Allen's not without fault, but like you don't win games against the Chiefs when you miss the opportunities you're given.
Right.
It's like playing Alabama with Nick Saban has been in the last decade. When you have the opportunity, you must take advantage because you won't get them all game. So when you see plays like that, you just kind of start to hang your head already. Like, I don't know if they're going to be able to do this because they're not going to get a lot more of those chances. And yeah, that was tough to watch. I feel for Buffalo losing in that way. That was a brutal way to lose the game. The poor fans don't deserve that. We love Buffalo fans on this podcast. So Bills fans,
get it.
I'm sorry. I shed a tear.
Yeah, that was tough. It was, I will say, despite how painful it is for Bills fans, 2 things. Number one, yet again, for the 3rd time, the Chiefs-Bills lived up to the hype. They've given us so many good games. Here was the call of the Korean radio of the Buffalo Bills missed field goal. And so, I mean, that's a neutral radio station, and they're into it, right? And that's how that game was. The second thing is, Patrick Mahomes, 6 years in the league, or really 6 years as the starter for Kansas City, 6 years in the AFC Championship game. Now, I think he's a long ways off for us really having a true discussion about Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes.
Mhm.
And I'm not really trying to have that conversation on this show because every other show in America will be getting to that point soon if they're not already.
Yeah.
But if Patrick Mahomes wins the next 2 games, it's back-to-back Super Bowls. It's his 3rd in just 6 years, and he's been to the AFC Championship every time. And it's his wide receivers have changed. He's done it without Tyreek. He's done it with Tyreek. He's done it with any number of players. Obviously, Travis Kelce has been there the whole time, but Travis Kelce wasn't even that phenomenal this year. He was really good against Buffalo, had a couple of touchdowns, and that's where. And we talked about it last week. I watched that game, and it was the defense that was scary for Kansas City, and they pulled through again. 0 points in that 4th quarter for Buffalo. So our AFC Championship is the Baltimore Ravens hosting an AFC Championship game for the first time since the 1960s versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Over in the NFC, I talked about it. The Lions hold off Tampa Bay 31-23. You love to see it. And then the 49ers actually needed a big 4th quarter to overcome that pesky Green Bay team. Bad interception thrown by Jordan Love at the end.
Real bad.
Very, very bad. Just defying every single thing you're supposed to do as a quarterback. But overall, he was really good. He largely, outside of that interception, outplayed Brock Purdy. But the 49ers get it done. A 10-0 4th quarter gives the 49ers a 24-21 win. So it's the 49ers versus the Detroit Lions. And we can kind of make our initial picks on these games, Baltimore, Kansas City. I know we made picks of the week a couple weeks ago. So these don't count for points or anything like that. But I do think the 49ers, and again, obviously I'm a Lions fan, I do think the 49ers will win this game. However, and that's what my head's telling me. Obviously, my heart is telling me Lions are now going to win a Super Bowl. This hype train is unstoppable. But my head is saying the 49ers win this game. However, if Deebo Samuel does not play on Sunday, and it sounds like it's a 50-50 thing right now with that shoulder injury he had in their win, and if Brock Purdy continues to be that inaccurate, he's been really good all year. He's getting a lot of slander because everyone's now saying, oh, it's just because you got a bunch of really good players on your team. And there's some truth to that, certainly. But he's legitimately been really good. But in that game against Green Bay, he was wildly inaccurate for most of that game. And the Lions defense is not good at all. But they have been opportunistic with some of the big plays they've created. So if those things happen, there is a pathway. There is absolutely a pathway for the Lions to win this game. Green Bay was able to run the ball well against the 49ers. That's what the Lions have done well all year, even though they didn't necessarily do that well against Tampa Bay. There is a pathway. I'm not going to be shocked if it happens, but I think if I was forced to put down a $100 bet, I don't think I could bet the Lions right now.
Yeah, I mean, Deebo's injury obviously makes a big deal for what the 49ers like to do because he's not just a wide receiver. So that'll it'll be a huge deal whether he plays or not. That changes a lot of what they are able to run on offense. I just think the Brock Purdy slander is so silly because everyone's like, well, it's just because of everyone else on his team. Okay. Well, why is he able to do it though, and all these other quarterbacks haven't been able to?
Yep.
All these other quarterbacks haven't been able to do this. So, the problem is the standard. We get into these heated debates, and I mean, maybe that's why you listen to our podcast, is we don't like to do a lot of Michael LeBron, KD, where's KD and Steph rank compared to LeBron on the all-time list?
KD came out today and said he's the GOAT.
Yeah, that's stupid, but we won't get into that.
Hold on, I gotta go make 15 burner accounts to defend his honor.
Oh, yeah.
But, because that doesn't matter. All that matters is that Brock Purdy is the right quarterback for the 49ers in 2024 in the playoffs. Does he get the ball out on time and accurately? And Aaron, you're right. He wasn't accurate for much of the game, but he was when it mattered the most.
Yep.
And they won the game. So who cares? You look back at any
basically
Super Bowl
5-0
winner
in the playoffs.
Right. The only game he lost was because he got hurt and literally couldn't lift his arm up to throw the ball.
Yep.
Every game he's finished in the playoffs, he's won. I don't care what the roster is. They said the same thing also about Tom Brady earlier in his career. Like he couldn't, he can't throw the ball, like not that he can't throw the ball. Like it's the defense carrying him. It's all Bill. Like Tom's not doing anything. And I'm not saying Brock Purdy's like Tom Brady, obviously, but he's doing what is asked of him and it's effective. They're winning games. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if he's better than Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts or whoever you want to fill in the blank. Is he the right quarterback for the 49ers? Yep. He is. And you know how I know? Because they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's literally the standard. That's all that matters. I think the 49ers are going to beat Detroit as well, Aaron. I assume this is going to be a very good game, though. I'd really be shocked if it wasn't a closely fought game. That would be my main surprise.
Agreed.
It will be interesting to watch Detroit play on the road for the first time in the playoffs. That is one thing that will be interesting. They've really fed off that crowd. Defenses are aided, especially by crowd noise and a home field advantage. I'm not saying Detroit's going to react poorly, but that's an advantage that you will no longer have. So I think San Francisco will win, but would not be shocked if this was another 3-point game at the end. I think it'll be a really good game. So many good players on the field for all of them. I hope Debo can play just because I want to see as close to full strength teams as possible. Yeah. So I think San Francisco, I'll stick by my original pick of San Francisco winning the game, but I think it'll be good. Good.
I think so too. And speaking of full strength, Austin in our YouTube chat, he makes a good point. The Lions offensive line is banged up from that game. Jonah Jackson went out, did not return. We'll see what his status is. Frank Ragnow was injured. He came back, and he gutted it out like crazy. Like what a performance by him. But then you give it a couple days and then the ankles or whatever that injury swells up. Obviously you hope he's good to go, but that's certainly a concern because you're right. Bosa and Chase on either end of that San Francisco defensive line, that can get scary real fast. He also says that Patrick and Travis are better duo than Tom and Gronk. I think I actually agree with that, but I think it's just because Travis Kelce is the best tight end of all time.
I don't think I agree with that.
Okay.
I think that's recency bias.
Okay.
I think people are forgetting how unguardable Gronk was.
Yeah, there was a time. It's true. That's interesting because I think if Gronk cared more, then that's not even a discussion. But because it got to a point where he's been very open and honest about it. He's like, yeah, I didn't watch film. There was just times in his career where he just didn't care, and more power to him. He's up there in that conversation too.
Sure. I will say it was interesting. I saw Tom Brady retweeted on Twitter, never X, always Twitter.
Correct.
He himself retweeted the stat that Kelce and Mahomes have actually surpassed him and Gronk for most postseason touchdowns.
Yep.
Which is
again not Sunday. Yeah.
Which is absolutely, I think it's one stat does not make a career, but very, very interesting.
It's just not apples to apples in my mind, though. Like one pair as Andy Reid and the other as Bill Belichick as the coach. I not saying that they don't deserve full credit, but Bill was more than happy to win a game 6-3 where Andy Reid would never,
right.
They're running the most creative play calls ever. And Bill's basically Kirk Ferentz out there, depending on the game. So, it's an interesting discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good question. Guys, any other thoughts on these games? I know obviously we will talk about the actual results next week, but I think we do have two good games in store. I'm with you guys. I think I'd be surprised if either one's a blowout.
Yeah. I just want to thank the Detroit Lions social media team for making me have to explain. I think you should leave references to my parents. The amount of times I've seen that man on. I'm so excited to see him. They've put out sorry, this is a terrible segue because I totally forgot his name. I have blanked on his name.
Eminem.
Not Eminem, the guy, Tim Robinson. Gosh.
Good guess, though, Aaron.
Yeah.
Right, is it Tim Robinson? It is Tim Robinson. Tim Robinson's also the professor of preaching here.
Oh.
That's why I was second guessing. Different guy.
Him too.
Our Tim Robinson is Irish. North Irish, sorry. He's from Belfast. Joke's ruined, but I want to take that again. Yeah, I just want to thank the Lions social media team for doing nothing but show me Tim Robinson on the field having a great time and making me, by extension, have to explain every single "I think you should leave" bit to my parents who have never seen the show.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen the show either, but thankfully or tragically, I'm chronically online. So
You've seen enough clips. You've seen 55 burgers, 55 hot dogs,
exactly.
55 pies,
Yep.
all of that. I mean, plenty of times.
Yeah. I'd like to thank Jason Kelsey for just living his best life. That's what I'd like
I
to
want to thank Jason Kelsey for just being him.
Yep. Agreed. Well,
I've never seen a band have more fun.
Yeah.
That's about the most fun you can have, frankly.
Agreed. Whether he's retired or not, TBD. There was reports that had happened. We talked about it a little bit last week. He himself has not said anything. I am kind of anticipating that he will say he's retired, but yeah, come on, media, let him. That's his job, not yours.
Was that Adam Schefter again?
Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
Okay, so is it time to straight to jail him? Because this is definitely this is like the third or fourth time at this point.
We had to deal with Tom Brady for one more year just because of him.
Yep. Maybe.
Do you know how upset
hopefully
you
we
have
get to
be
deal with Jason Kelsey one more year?
That would be fine.
That would be fine. I don't know. All right. Well, we will talk about those games next week. We won't necessarily do like a big Super Bowl preview because the NFL does the thing where they give the teams 2 weeks to prepare for that. So next week, get excited for the in-depth NFL Pro Bowl discussion.
Yay.
Good luck.
5 hours straight just on the Pro Bowl.
That's right. You will listen.
We're going to live stream it.
Yeah. Yeah, we will. All right. It actually is time for some quick hits. I can go first. I've got it pulled up here. All right. Sports Illustrated. Dead. R.I.P. So if you didn't see this, Sports Illustrated. Well, let me start with this, Johnny. I know you were and maybe still are an avid reader of Sports Illustrated. How, on a scale of 0 to 100, how much in mourning are you over the death of Sports Illustrated? And if you say 40, straight to jail.
I'd say 33.
Okay.
Good.
Now, what that makes me feel like, oh, you didn't like Sports Illustrated. If I'm really being honest about it, I feel like we've seen the writing on the wall on most of these magazines for a while. So I think there's not a huge shock to me. I haven't gotten Sports Illustrated in years myself.
Yeah.
Partially ashamed for that. But I have so many good memories with Sports Illustrated and Sports Illustrated Kids. And like there's just a lot of like good memories. I still have the Sports Illustrated when the Cavs, when LeBron promised to come back and win a title, and then the one when he did. And I have the one when Ohio State's won the championships as well. Like I kept all of those. And when it was a World Cup year and they'd have like a big poster that, it was a perforated like sheet that you could pull out of there, and it's the bracket. And I have so many good memories of Sports Illustrated. It's something that I wish would obviously keep going. Maybe it will, but yeah, I love Sports Illustrated. I guess there's not a huge shock factor though for me at this point. So I'm not like devastated, but it is sad. But it's also fun to look back and just like, oh, those are some good memories. And I'm going to keep those magazines forever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Might be worth more now that it's probably dead. I used to get Sports Illustrated Kids, and like you said with the posters, there'd be like 9 cards that you could like tear out of the magazine, like sports cards. Those were sweet. I think they're probably still in some closet somewhere. And I don't know if those are any value because they were basically made out of paper, but I've got them. I mean, I'll hang on to them for a while, if nothing else, out of sentimentalness. I think that's a word. But let me just read you. Here's why they're dead. It's not just me making up stuff. So this is Front Office Sports reporting this. Authentic, the licensing group that purchased Sports Illustrated for $110 million from Meredith 5 years ago. I assume it's just somebody named Meredith.
Wow. Meredith made out like a bandit.
Yeah.
Good job, Meredith.
I'm assuming same Meredith from The Office. If you're asking, yeah, the answer is yes, I think. So they terminated the agreement it holds with the Arena Group to publish Sports Illustrated in print and digital. This is according to an email obtained by Front Office Sports. That move comes 3 weeks after Arena missed a $3.75 million payment, and that breached the company's SI licensing deal, which basically blew everything up, and that's where we are today. So in theory, there's a path to which Sports Illustrated could technically be resurrected, but seems extremely unlikely. Sports Illustrated staffers were notified on Friday of massive layoffs. So honestly, this is worse for them, obviously, more than anybody else.
Aaron, were they actually laying anyone off, or was it just AI?
That's a great question.
Sorry, not to be insensitive to the actual Sports Illustrated workers. We love you guys.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I don't know.
I just want to say,
by the way, this whole podcast is AI. We're not actually talking. These are our AI voices.
We have never been here.
Yep.
I just want to say this is also, as a slight pet peeve, this is what happens when big conglomerate like investment groups buy beloved icons. Arena Management also owns like Men's Journal, and that's about the biggest they have. I mean, if you love hockey news, I'm sorry, that's, I'm gonna not read it as much. But this reminds me exactly of when another group, this is more on the restaurant side of things because food, the Darden Group bought a lot of restaurants back in the day, maybe like 5 years ago. But specifically, if you remember, they bought Longhorn Steakhouse and Olive Garden. And Olive Garden, I believe, either filed, I think they filed for bankruptcy or were very close. This may have been what I was following.
What?
Because
how on earth would Olive Garden go bankrupt?
A few years ago.
Do you realize how many breadsticks I eat, Johnny, when I go there? That's how.
That was the issue. They were giving away too many breadsticks. They literally
told you.
They were saying it was too. No, they were saying no. There was this whole thing a few years ago where the Darden Group bought them, and like Olive Garden just tanked. No one wanted to go there. Listen, no one's pretending that Olive Garden is high class, fancy Italian food, but it's supposed to be cheap and good, and breadsticks, and they weren't even doing that right. And so this is my bias against big groups who do not have anything to do with the founding. They buy a thing because they think it's going to make them money. And unfortunately, sometimes I'm not blaming Arena Group for running them into the ground. I just believe they do in my mind.
No, that the breadsticks were missing the love ingredient.
Breadsticks were missing the love.
Because
I remember reading, because I obviously didn't read as much Sports Illustrated as you two, but I still remember vividly my grandfather subscribed. And so I remember reading like they had the special edition of the 2002 championship season of Ohio State. Mm-hmm. So I read through all of that commemorative edition. Yep. When the Jerry Sandusky thing broke, I read every article because it was over, the course of a few months. I would just follow that story. And that's how I followed it, was through Sports Illustrated. And so I'm very sad as well to see this brand's, hopefully it just looks like a restructuring, but support local journalism. That way they don't have to get bought out by big companies. Mm-hmm. Except for Bally Sports. Bally Sports can go away. And they did.
Well, kind of.
In a way. Good enough for me. Close enough for me.
I'll talk about that for like 2 seconds and then someone else can go.
Oh yeah, this wasn't very quick of a hit. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
We're still new at this.
No, that's okay. So Bally Sports might also be dead, which if that's the case, the complete opposite reaction to Sports Illustrated.
Yes.
Yay.
We did it.
We did it, everyone. So if maybe you have no idea what we're talking about, because maybe you're like Austin, who's in chat, who's in the Chicago market. They've got NBC and may not have any idea of the toils that Johnny and I, and Josh, probably you two, have gone through with Bally Sports. The issue has been, for us at least, I primarily use YouTube TV for all my streaming, I record literally every sporting event, but for the longest time, Bally Sports and YouTube TV have not had an agreement. So it is extremely difficult for us to find the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Cincinnati Reds. Basically,
we're better for the Blue Jackets.
Well, true. Fair. Your point has been considered and it has been approved. Yes, better for that. But it's been very difficult. Really, the only way that we have to watch these games is to get the Bally Sports app, which works maybe half of the time. Oh, and once you get the app, you still need a paid TV subscription. Now, my parents still subscribe to DirecTV. Shout out to them, because otherwise I would just be I don't know what I would do, but that's what I do. I just have their
Bad.
login. I would just pirate it. I wouldn't actually. I'm against pirating and against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Take the L. Anyways, all that to say,
And the Pittsburgh Pirates, for that matter.
and the Pittsburgh Pirates, who signed Aroldis Chapman. There's just a lot of news. I told you guys, there's a lot happening. Yeah, Johnny. Yeah, $10 million deal. Anyways,
What? That's way too much.
yeah, probably.
For them not even to break 500. Yeah, good job.
Yeah. All that being said, so Diamond Sports Group, which runs Bally Sports, they're in bankruptcy court, and who better than a conglomerate, Amazon, to step in and say, hey, we'll help, which, again, Josh, I completely agree. Amazon, get out of here. You're wealthy enough. But in our situation, it's actually really helpful because I can now go to Amazon Prime, where I would have already gone to watch a Thursday night game, and I can watch the Reds. And God forbid, I can watch the Blue Jackets if I choose. So,
And at least they've proven they can do a live sporting event,
Yeah.
right?
yep.
Like they prove they can do it right. And Aaron, you're correct. I don't love a giant conglomerate getting it, but at least we'll be able to watch the games again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey, I'm all for that.
Yep. All right. Johnny, you want to go next with women's hoops? And then we'll throw it after that. We'll go Josh, AT&T Stadium. Does that work?
Let's do it.
Well, we've been talking about football like crazy, obviously, on the show pretty much since August, if not before then. Basketball's really starting to ramp up. It's starting to get closer to the forefront of my mind at this point, as even the NFL starts ramping down, you know? So if you remember last year, we had an incredible storyline and an incredible women's basketball tournament in the college ranks with Iowa and LSU. Like, it was just a fantastic tournament all around. Good upsets, good storylines, star players, incredible. Easily the best tournament the women's games pretty much ever had as far as exposure. That's pretty much not inarguable. So this year, Caitlin Clark is back for Iowa. They've only lost one game coming into Sunday to Kansas State, I believe, and they're ranked number 2 in the country. Ohio State's women's team was hosting them. They sold out the arena. They play at the same arena as the men, sold it out. It was the largest home crowd that they've had for a women's game this year so far, which is awesome. I know it's just January, so, you know, but still, sell out crowd. And it was an incredible game, lived up to the hype. I watched it. It was awesome. I wasn't able to tune in until the second half. Buckeyes were down 15 with 8 to go. They fought all the way back, got that game tied, even had a chance to win it at the end of regulation. They go to overtime. They knock off Iowa. Caitlin Clark stormed the court. Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark got like decked on the court. Looked like a total accident between the fan and her. So no harm done. Nobody needs to make a big deal about that.
It's fine.
Everybody else relax.
Stop saying
But
she leaned in.
more to
Neither
the
did.
point of what I'm trying to say is women's basketball is here, man.
Yes.
It's so good. Like, it's quality. I had a blast watching it. Like, I'm sorry, like, I had more fun watching that. And it's Ohio State too. So that helps, obviously. And Caitlin Clark, like, how could you not be
Oh my
interested?
gosh.
It's a great
She
game.
had 47 in that game.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's I had more fun watching that than I've had watching a lot of the men's games so far this year. So, I mean, the women's game is here. Oh, and they're being treated like that now. Like, that was the game on NBC leading into Football Night in America, like leading into the pregame for the Lions. So I love that they're getting the exposure, and they deserve the exposure. They're not just getting a pity exposure like, oh, we'll throw you on ABC. It's like, no, like, people are interested. They're clearly like paying attention. It's been awesome. I love watching that game. Check out, like, if you watch your favorite college men's team, like, check out the women's team too. They might also be really, really good. They also might be terrible. I don't know. So check them out though.
Yeah.
Like, they might be really good. And those games are usually cheaper, and who knows, maybe they'll let you down less than your men's team. Right now, that's my case.
Yeah. To your point, UCLA and Utah are playing right now. UCLA is, I think, now ranked number 2 with that Iowa loss. Utah's ranked number 16. Utah at home has a lead over UCLA. Why do I bring that up? Because while it was one of the most incredible dynasties we've ever seen in sports with that UConn women's team, it wasn't great for the sport. Like, you love to watch UConn, But because UConn was so head and shoulders better than everybody else for so long, any other game that didn't involve UConn, it was kind of difficult to draw interest, at least from an average fan. Obviously, if you're a fan of women's college basketball, you've been locked in for forever. And great, you should be. But the fact that we have upsets, the fact that Ohio State beat Iowa, the fact that Utah might beat the number 2 team tonight, I think South Carolina is still undefeated. They're number 1.
I believe so.
That's great. They're fantastic. They've been so good.
LSU's been knocked off several times.
And that roster is loaded. I'm telling you, that is so good. I think what we have to remember about the men's and women's game is that you get to March Madness for the men's, and you see an occasional you see a Fairleigh Dickinson beat a Purdue just out of nowhere. This statistically impossible thing happens. Well, how much longer have the men been playing that tournament than the women? It's several decades. It's going to, and it's still going to take them some time to get to the point where they have 64 teams that have depth of competition, but we're getting there really fast. And I will say NIL is helping speed that up. That's been a really good thing, I think, overall for the women's game. It's speeding up the competitive balance in that sport. It's driving the interest. It's awesome. Overall, it's awesome. And I love to see it. And it's fun to have not 1, but 2 fantastic tournaments in March. It's awesome.
Who doesn't like more competitive quality basketball? Like, who doesn't like more competitive quality basketball?
This is a win-win for everybody.
It's awesome.
Yep.
It's so good. Aaron, you're spot on. The men's had the exact same thing with UCLA and John Wooden as UConn did with Ariema. Like, it's literally the exact same process. The men just started much earlier than the women. Same process.
Yep.
No, it's not just that it's spread out the quality of players. It's like these are all good teams. It's not just parity for parity's sake. They're good. Watch the games.
Will Caitlin Clark play on Team USA in Paris? I actually don't know the answer to that.
That's a great question.
I hope
she
the answer is
should.
yes.
I would hope so.
I hope so.
Be awesome.
She better. Like Johnny said, we've been talking about football nonstop since August and probably July and really May. And now it's time for me to talk about the other football, the football that everyone else in the world considers true football, soccer, specifically the World Cup. Now, I'm in Dallas, and I got an announcement this morning or yesterday, as of recording, that might make me want to stay in Dallas for another year or two. Leaked rumors have suggested that AT&T Stadium will host the World Cup final, which would beat out MetLife Stadium over in New York. I'm so sorry. New Jersey.
Yep. Good catch there, Josh. They're gonna come for you.
Yeah.
It's
I
almost
almost
have
reached
to
right through your microphone.
They almost reached. They heard.
You.
Did you hear my panic? Did you hear my panic? There's a place 5 blocks down the street called Jimmy's Food Store. It's the best Italian food in Dallas. I felt them.
That
telling
name
me
is
that
incredible.
It's a fantastic. Next time you guys come, I'm taking you to Jimmy's Food Store. You're gonna get a meatball parm. It's so good. There's this little. It's like they have like a little thing of espresso, and so you go up. It's if you guys have seen.
It's as Italian as it possibly could be. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's as Italian American as it could possibly be. It's just guys yelling at you what you want. You got to go snappy.
You're not ordering. They're ordering for you.
I'm getting an Italian beef. I'm getting a muffaletta. Like you're going right in and out. They can give you. They'll just give you a glass of wine. You can chill with a glass of wine. Shop in the store because it's a full like Italian grocery store. Pick up your sandwich. Say have a great day and go on your merry way. It's great. I had an espresso the last time. It was good. So come to Jimmy's Food Store if you're in Dallas. But don't, because I don't want it getting too busy. I need to get in and out faster. Anyway, a lot of people, we might have a chance for real Italians to come in and check out Jimmy's Food Store. Not just me. If AT&T Stadium, in fact, hosts the World Cup. This is why the World Cup finals, rather. This is why it's tricky. A few days ago, the UK's The Sun said that FIFA officials were announcing it. The issue is FIFA is not going to make that official announcement until February 4th. That's been on the books for a while. sources at ESPN have confirmed that they have not made a decision yet. And so we are still actually in a bit of a
revolutionary war, you might say.
Evolutionary war, exactly. And so if the Sun somehow ruins this for Dallas, and like for some reason, despite it, they go back to MetLife, we will burn New Jersey to the ground.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
But I will say, again, I'm biased. I like the idea of it being hosted in Dallas. For
Dallas
one reason,
is the right choice.
Dallas is
It's
the right choice.
It's the right choice.
It's a little bit less accessible when you get into Arlington. I've said this before, and I'll probably say it again until they finally figure it out. Arlington is the largest city in America that does not have public transportation.
They'll change it for this.
They are. I mean, Jerry Jones is
bunch of Europeans walking around a city with no public transportation and is not walkable. They're gonna lose their minds.
I will say, Jerry Jones is dropping like close to $300 million on renovations regardless. So AT&T Stadium will be they are billing themselves as the premier, almost the luxury international sports venue. Like, I realize it's been a while. I mean, it's like what, 20, 25 years old. I'm trying to remember when it was completed, but it is still like the premier spot. Having walked down, they're kind of like, in a way, a ballpark like village, if that makes sense. Obviously you're not walking to this place, but like having walked through like St. Louis's ballpark village outside of Cardinal Stadium, having walked through, the Reds have a pretty decent, they got a little riverfront area, which is really nice. Even Columbus has a really nice like arena area that they've expanded upon. It's really nice, semi-walkable, which is pretty close for, being built after the fact. But Arlington realized that they had a very bad environment to watch sports in. And so in the past 4 or 5 years, they've built up this beautiful like little walkable area. They put up 2 or 3 hotels in there that are not like skyscrapers. They don't take over the skyline, but just a few little hotels to keep people there, a custom concert venue, a few outdoor like restaurants and bars. Like, it's a pretty nice area to walk around. They put a cool like war memorial in. So like they're building for things like this. And so I think, and I will say, I hear all the time people complain about LaGuardia and JFK. Fewer, not nobody, but fewer people complain about DFW.
Yeah.
I would love to show, Europeans DFW Airport, which has its own zip code, which I believe is larger than Moldova. Like, it's just, hey, you like the Vatican City? Well, here's our airport. That's 2 Vatican cities.
Yeah.
Take that, Pope.
I am curious to see, like, if this does go to Dallas, what kind of Josh, you were talking about it all. Like, I'm thinking about the Super Bowl that was in Indianapolis, and I think this might have been way back when like the Saints and Steelers were playing. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, Indiana made a bunch of like skywalk, like not tunnels, but bridges kind of stuff, basically so fans could commute from building to building, so they didn't have to walk outside for miles in the dead of February in Indianapolis. So I'm curious. I'm sure Dallas will do something similar, because you're talking about an event that is even bigger than the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Even if it's just a busing system, they'll get something in there.
Yeah.
Like, no shot. Yeah. The issue is I'm so glad that you tuned into this podcast for 3 white guys can talk to you about public transportation policies.
Trains, man. We just want trains.
I just give me a train. And Dart does good trains. I've read in the Dart system. It's pretty solid. Slow, but it's there. Fort Worth has its system. Dallas has its system. Arlington said no, thank you. We do not want to be connected to you guys. And so now they're going to pay for it.
Yep. And
hopefully we expand, because I would love to just it would take like an hour and a half. I'd love to take a bus or a train. Sorry, give me a train out to AT&T Stadium so I could spend $5,000 on a World Cup Finals tickets
and be blinded by the sun the entire time.
No, they got a dome on it. Well, it'll be fine. They'll close the.
It's the wind. I mean, it's the dome, but the windows. The sun just goes right through the windows and blinds it.
Oh no, they'll fix that. Yeah. They'll fix that.
They'll put some really big shades on the windows.
It'll be a massive shades.
They'll figure it out.
Jerry Jones buys the world's largest pair of sunglasses.
Yep. All right, you guys good for picks?
Let's pick.
Yeah.
All right, Josh has tied up our early scoreboard with his correct pick that the Denver Nuggets would end Boston Celtics' perfect home winning streak. Here's how it sounded on ESPN with Mark Jones on the call. So yeah, we're all tied at 1 with the celebration / punishment for the winner and loser yet to be determined. This week, we are doing something a little, it's not even unusual. We pick dumb stuff all the time. This week, we're picking the 2024 NHL All-Star Game. And you might be thinking, actually, I was going to say you might be thinking, well, wait, isn't that next week? And then I realized you don't know when this NHL All-Star Game is. Yes, it's next week. But we're picking it because this is going to take some explanation. And as I said, next week is our Pro Bowl special. So we got to save time for that next week. So here's how the system works. Previously, there's 4 divisions in the NHL. What has happened in the past is that the All-Stars for each division have competed against one another in a bracket format. It's like 3-on-3 with a goalie. The 2 winning teams advance to the championship game and they play. It's very odd. No one really tries. It's a lot of scoring. It's kind of fun. It's still kind of a fun format, but they're shifting it up, the format, a little bit this year. So rather than just have divisions, they are taking a page out of the NBA playbook and they're picking captains, and we are doing kind of a playground style, pick your team and try to win, which is fun. That alone is kind of fun, right? The NBA's done it. It's been fun. The NBA's, I think, talking about potentially going back to East and West. But at least for me, those first 2 drafts were very interesting because there was one where James Harden basically went with the last pick, and I thought that was entertaining. Anyways,
That's awesome.
So we have 4 captains. So we've got 4 teams. First team is Team Matthews, and this is the home kid, Austin Matthews. This game is being played in Toronto. Austin Matthews, captain of Team Matthews. Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. He's the captain of Team McDavid. Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche is the captain of Team MacKinnon. And finally, Jack and Quinn Hughes, they're brothers who play, I know one plays on the Devils. I can't remember where the other one plays, but they are co-captains of Team Hughes. Now, if that was not enough, and if that was not confusing enough, we also have celebrity coaches that are assigned to each team. So if you know none of those players and you're like, that does not help me in who I want to pick, never fear. Because Justin Bieber is the celebrity captain for Team Matthews. You have Will Arnett, celebrity for Team McDavid. You have Tate McRae for Team MacKinnon. And you have Michael Bublé, captain for Team Hughes. Now, I don't believe that Michael Bublé exists outside of the month of December, so for that reason, I can't vote for Team Hughes. He's not been de-thawed yet. We have a few months before that happens.
He was just rethawed. Like,
yeah,
can't
exactly.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Refrozen.
Into carbonite.
Yes.
Yes. So anyways, we are picking
unthawed.
the winner of this game. And I'm going to pick Team McDavid. I don't really have good reasons because I don't even know who's on the team yet. But Connor McDavid is, and everyone makes this list outside of Nathan MacKinnon, who recently won a Stanley Cup. But Connor McDavid, if you didn't see on Twitter, there was some random girl that said, I can't believe I lost my Stanley Cup and I can't find it. And all of the quote tweets were just NHL fans quote tweeting pictures of players who have been really good but have never won a Stanley Cup. And Connor McDavid was by far the most quote tweeted player. So for that reason, I think Connor McDavid just wants to win. Whether it's a Stanley Cup, whether this is this All-Star game, he's going to rob Austin Matthews of his hometown glory of winning in his home stadium. Give me Team McDavid.
I am also taking Team McDavid. Will Arnett does the voiceover work for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's all I need
wow.
to say. I could also mention his acting chops, like BoJack Horseman or the one guy in Arrested Development and others, I'm sure. Didn't he play Leslie Knope's weird boyfriend once in Parks and Rec?
Yep.
But the weird CAT scan guy.
Yep.
But give me Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Nice.
Give me Reese's Pieces.
I love it.
And Team McDavid.
Aaron, you said Toronto's hosting?
They are.
Yep. Team Matthews. Only reason. Home team.
You're doing the opposite of what Josh did last week.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Well, this game
Hey,
is
works
being
for me last
played on Saturday, February 3rd. There's skills competitions happening as well. So no points necessarily for next week. But I can tell you that my Buffalo Bills did not make the AFC Championship game. So I'm out a future point as far as our Super Bowl picks go. We'll obviously update that as well. All right. Do we have a specific order that we want to go in for what we're following?
I'm gonna hit 2. I want to touch on Bill O'Brien. So I don't know
Do you
if
want me to start then?
Yeah.
Since I figured since we didn't do it,
I feel like
just
mine are pretty short actually this week. So
I can finish if you want. Mine's not that exciting either, but all right, Johnny.
Okay. So what I'm following this week is the Ohio State football team, and if you can believe it, the national title game was only 2 weeks ago.
I don't believe it.
Does that feel like 2 years ago at this point? Not just with what's happened to Ohio State football, but just college football in general right now is just madness with Nick Saban retiring and the domino effect from that, truly. Well, with Nick Saban retiring, there's a 30-day transfer window that began. And then Kalen DeBoer left from Washington to Alabama, which meant that window opened for Washington. And then for Arizona, and then for San Jose State, and so on and so on and so on, because that's how college athletics usually works. So in light of that, all of those Alabama players were up for grabs in a way. And this is with the transfer portal currently closed, but you get a special window, obviously, when a coach moves on. Well, Ohio State football got to work, and they were working before Nick Saban retired as well. They've gone basically, Ohio State saw Michigan win a national title and said never again. This will never happen again on our watch. They're bringing in Will Howard, who's won a Big 12 title with Kansas State at quarterback. He's assumed to be the starting quarterback. You have the best SEC running back from the last 2 years in Quinshon Judkins coming from Ole Miss. So Ohio State has the best backfield in the country. Nobody would really argue that, with Trevion Henderson returning, surprisingly. You have 9 of 11 starters on the defense coming back, most of which could have gone in the NFL draft. They were able to bring almost all of them back. And now with Alabama having what I just mentioned happening to their coaching staff, you have Ohio State going in and getting 5-star Julian Sayin, who was the top quarterback recruit for 2024. So you now have 2 of the top 5 quarterback recruits for this incoming class on one roster. So the future is safe there. And they got the center from Alabama in the transfer portal as well. And they got the best player arguably on Alabama's entire defense. And remind me of his name. I'm just blanking right now.
Caleb Downs.
Yeah, thank you. Caleb Downs. And Caleb Downs was phenomenal all year as a true freshman. And for Nick Saban to trust anyone in his secondary, and I mean his secondary, because that's how he coached them, as a true freshman, speaks highly of his quality on the field and his character. So for Ohio State to get him was remarkable. So that Ohio State defense seems locked down next year. It's insane. There's rumors of how much money this costs to be able to do, get all of these transfers, to keep everybody from going to the draft.
Yeah.
I'm starting to believe the rumors of what they offered Marvin Harrison now, like to stay, but it has been insane. And to that point, they even hired a new offensive coordinator, and Ryan Day's going to move to the CEO role of the Ohio State team. And he's not calling plays, and Bill O'Brien is going to be calling plays for Ohio State. And my first initial reaction, I'm not necessarily a Bill O'Brien fan. However, in modern college football, to win a national title, you could argue the play caller doesn't work in. The head coach who's a play caller. You need a CEO. Ryan Day is going to be able to devote his time more to perhaps NIL, but also just a wide variety of what's going on the team. Absolutely. They've made a lot of coaching moves as far as firings as well and demotions. This isn't going to be a new reloaded Ohio State team next year.
Mhm.
It's going to be wild to see. It's going to
Yeah.
be absolutely wild to see.
They're playing.
I mean,
They better play
it's just
angry.
insane. The amount of money that they spent is insane. Their NIL collectives have been fully unleashed.
Yes. And we were talking about this. We were like, you in the modern era, like it or not, if you want to compete, you got to play around with NIL. You got to play around with transfer portal. They did both in a beautiful, beautiful way. I will say again, I'm not a massive Bill O'Brien fan. A lot of Alabama fans were very concerned for Ohio State when they saw the pickup. But here's the thing. Generally speaking, Bill O'Brien is one of the better, if not best, in recent memory, quarterback OCs.
Yeah, Bryce Young won a Heisman.
Bryce Young won a Heisman.
Was offensive coordinator for Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, and when early Tom Brady had some of his best stats. Doesn't always win, but it doesn't. But that like, there's so many other factors to come into play, not just the quarterback. So like, I'm moderately excited for that. Like, I think this is at the very least, Ryan Day is going all out because he knows this is the last year on his contract.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't take care of business.
Can I read you guys Ohio State's schedule next year? Because there's literally no excuse for Ohio State to. I tweeted this out on my personal account for those that follow me over there. I believe this. There's zero reason why Ohio State should not win a national championship with the roster they have. And also with the schedule they have. They play Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall in the non-conference. Then they're at Michigan State, Iowa, at Oregon. I'll give you that one. Nebraska, at Penn State, Purdue, at Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan. You avoid a lot of teams. Even though you've got a couple of conference games that are tricky.
Oh, yeah.
That schedule is nothing. Compared to what a Michigan will face this year, compared to what SEC teams are facing this year. I mean, Florida's down real bad right now. Like, their fans want the death penalty so they can just avoid next year. And I don't blame them because their schedule's insane.
I don't know what they did to deserve that schedule.
I don't either. And apparently they were cheating somehow in all this. They've been so bad and they may have been cheating. Anyways, not to get a sidetracked, but I just wanted to bring that up because
get up to bad.
They
cheated to get up to.
Maybe they cheated once they realized they were bad, just to get the death penalty, as Aaron mentioned.
I could see that.
They're like, man, if we can't be this bad.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah. But college football anymore, guys, does not rest. Year long.
No.
Year long.
Do it. Off-season champs is a very cheap title, and it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Josh,
does
I'm more
feel
interested in what you're talking about, though. I think that's much more interesting than what the Buckeyes have going on.
Here's what matters, guys, and thank you so much for bringing that up, because frankly, nothing we've talked about this entire hour and 1 minute of recording on my thing really matters, because Subway just launched foot-long cookies.
Let's go.
A few days ago, I believe it was.
You're gonna have to go back.
Were you just there?
No, I haven't been to Subway in a million years. I'm gonna have to actually go back.
Yeah. It's time to go back. So remember back when Subway had that guy on and he lost like a billion pounds by eating nothing but Subway?
Correct. And committing crimes.
And committing
horrific crimes. Don't look it up.
Terrible crimes.
Yes.
Don't. Well, Subway has decided to just take a 180, I think, at this point.
Yep.
And they're going, well, what if cookie that is 12 inches long? You ever eat a cookie the long way? You can now at Subway.
Landscape cookie.
Landscape cookie.
Oh no.
Here's your 2x4 cookie. It's part of their new Sidekicks menu, which I think is insulting, because what goes better with like a 6-inch, turkey pesto? How about a 12-inch churro? Yeah, that's also on there. The 3 new Sidekicks having been here at select stores right now. I got some down here in Dallas. Early launch for National Cookie Day. You're welcome.
Wow.
But we have now the foot-long cookie, which is going to be $5, which doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
You can do a foot-long pretzel for $3.
Oh, okay.
Or a foot-long churro for $2.
What?
And
Well, I guess the churros less food.
Yes. And I will say, tentatively less food. But you know what they did? And this is what's really, I think they did in-house for the cookie because they already have cookies. They partnered with Auntie
Good
Anne's.
cookies.
They did. They partnered with Auntie Anne's for the pretzels, and they
No
partnered
way.
with Cinnabon
No
for the
way.
churros. So I don't think it's going to be like presented by.
We're gonna go and get all three.
Oh,
We're getting all three.
At one time.
guys, have we found our
Podcast road trip.
Have we found our prize for the winner of Picks of the Week? The two losers buy a foot long of the winner's choice for the winner.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we
Honestly,
did it.
I'll gladly pay for it.
Yeah,
too.
same.
I would
Same.
happily gift you.
I'm just gonna also buy one for myself.
Yeah,
So
But
yeah, we're all gonna
inevitably-
just
Yeah.
yes.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Cool.
That's great. There we go. That's what I got.
That's so good, Josh. That might be the best news I've heard all week, and the Lions won a playoff
Really?
game this year. Two
That
of
made
them.
my
Also,
day,
I just
Josh.
want to
Thank
say
you.
this is also another thing I'm following. Now that the Lions, I think it was the last time they won was 1991.
Mhm.
You know what that makes them now? Better than the Cowboys.
Correct.
By science.
Yep.
Because the Cowboys haven't won since 95. So
Yep.
this is objectively congratulations, Lions fans. You did it. You are now America's team.
The New York Post said as much. Their
Yeah.
back page said something along the lines of America's actual team or whatever. They're correct. Yeah. I'm looking up number of conference championship games played in this century. I think Detroit 1,
Yeah.
Dallas 0.
0.
That's a scoreboard I like. to
Don't
see.
worry. Dak's still developing. Give him another year or
Oh,
two.
gosh.
Maybe by his 15th year, he'll figure it out.
Yeah, he'll have it figured out. I'm here to bring down the mood, per usual. Josh,
Oh no.
we probably should have let you end because
should let me
footlong
finish with the
cookies.
fun
How do you
cookie.
get better than that? I'm here to talk about nepotism. And
Oh,
we
yay!
talked at length about Brian Ferentz, Iowa's offensive coordinator. He was let go. Their offensive coordinator position is still very much up for grabs. Whoever wants it, and it appears that nobody wants it, can have it. Anyways, there's some nepotism there because would Brian Ferentz have had a job at any other Power 5 school except for the coach of where his dad, except for the school where his dad was the head coach? Johnny, correct answer. No. The same might be true for Packers kicker Anders Carlson. It is worth noting that his brother Daniel Carlson is in the league. For some unknown reason, which became more unknown this weekend, Anders Carlson was taken in the 6th round of the NFL draft by the Green Bay Packers. And maybe you guys saw this stat, but if not, do you guys know what Anders Carlson's career field goal percentage was at Auburn, where he played for 5 years?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
66%.
Okay. Josh?
I'll go 55.
Oh, wow. Not quite that bad. But
Okay. We all just figured it had to be terrible.
well, I will say
Yeah.
this freshman year,
Had to be
60%. So he got better.
Oh,
Made it to 72% his sophomore year.
Oh,
Made it
okay.
to 90.9 his junior year.
great.
But then his senior year, 66.7. He went 14 of 21 in his senior year.
Nailed it.
And if you're saying, well, you just said senior year twice. Yes, this is, I guess, his COVID extra year
in his senior year,
2022.
part 2.
Yep. Senior year, the sequel. He went 12 of 17, 70.6. If you do all the math, his career average is 71.8%. And he missed 3 extra points in that time. So for
And
whatever
college
reason,
extra
Oh,
points, too.
yes,
Oh.
yes,
Oh
correct.
no.
And then the
Fired.
Packers said, sure, we'll take him. And then he did things. And apparently, Matt LaFleur is not happy with Fox for saying that he praised before every
He said
time
it,
Anders
though.
Carlson's
He said
but he
it.
said it. I think he took it. I think they took it maybe out of context. But the fact that he said the words that he praised when Anders Carlson kicks tells you everything you need to know about.
Great. What a great thing.
Oh boy. Oh,
That
Oh,
killed
boy.
me.
so
Mm.
rough day for kickers, right? Anders Carlson, rough day. Then Tyler Bass did his thing. That was
Who is an
unfortunate.
excellent kicker. Tyler Bass
Yes,
is an excellent
yeah, he
kicker.
is. He's been great other than that unfortunate kick that would have tied the game. So anyways, the point is nepotism, it's not worth it. Stop nepotizing. Stop it. I don't have anything to say beyond that.
Every time I see the word nepotism, I think of Neapolitan, and therefore I think of ice cream.
Oh.
Just every time, and how nobody ever eats the strawberry. And what's the point of that ice cream?
Hey.
No one eats the strawberry, Josh.
No, the strawberry's great. All right, it's not my favorite, but it's okay.
Exactly. If you have a choice between the three flavors,
to provide a
you're
contrast.
not
Everyone has
strawberry.
chocolate and vanilla. All right, you need a contrast. You need a
That's
color.
my
Otherwise,
point.
it's just like a tuxedo. Look, it's boring.
You
Also,
could
every
have
time-
more chocolate and vanilla. That's all
No,
I'm saying.
then that's
Hey,
go get
strawberry
chocolate and
ice cream's
vanilla.
fine. But would you ever go to an ice cream shop and actually pick strawberry?
No, I go and get black
Exactly.
raspberry chip like an American. Listen, chocolate covered strawberries, fantastic. Strawberries and vanilla, it's like strawberries and cream. It's perfect. Like this is you can do either. It's perfect.
No,
it's a perfect
nobody needs
compliment.
that.
Everyone, but see, people want it.
No,
why
they
keep
don't.
making it. Yes, they do.
People throw out a third
Listen,
of their ice
they
cream.
wouldn't make making it if people didn't buy it. Also, every time I think of Neapolitan ice cream, I think of Napoleon. And specifically, I guess we get kind of back to nepotism, really, in a way.
Full circle. And that's where we'll leave you on this lovely Monday night.
Action statement for the week. Buy a Neapolitan ice cream and just eat the strawberry.
And throw out the rest.
That
if
is
you-
a serial killer trait, Josh.
If you do it,
I'd
how
call
about
the
this?
police.
Is the strawberry
If
on
you
top or
do
the
it-
bottom?
It's on the right.
Okay, I don't know.
What do you mean top or bottom? Aaron, what?
I don't know.
You got to dig to get to the
I
flavor?
don't know. I don't get Neapolitan ice cream.
It's three vertical stripes.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
You don't get it because you don't want the strawberry.
That's not
Oh my
why.
gosh.
Listen, if
anyways.
you send a video of yourself
Aaron,
eating
you
just the
cut this
strawberry
part out.
parts, no, because here's what we're gonna do. I'm doing an action statement.
Yeah, we can't cut out Josh's action statement.
you
This is
do
how we
a-
end the show now.
If you take a video and send it to Johnny of you eating just the strawberry part of the Neapolitan ice cream,
I will call the police.
I will Venmo you the cost of that ice cream.
And I'll
I will
Venmo you
pay your
even
ice
more
cream
money
bill.
so you can then buy the Subway footlong cookie.
Ooh,
That's
yes.
exactly what's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Tweet us at
And then we're
Fifth
gonna-
Wheel Sports.
And then we'll Venmo Johnny for his counseling bill, his therapy bill.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my.
What was our action statement last week? You had one. I can't remember.
I did.
What it
Hold on.
is.
What was I following last week?
I don't
Last week I was tunnels. It was tunnels.
Oh, that's right.
it was
Thank
go
a
think
tunnel. Yes.
think a tunnel.
If you didn't think a tunnel last week, number one, if you have no idea what we're talking about, at least listen to the end of last week's episode. It was as ridiculous as this one. But thank a tunnel, then go
Thank a
buy
tunnel.
Neapolitan ice cream, eat only the strawberry, and throw it away. Tweet us at
Oh,
Fifth Goal
And
Sports.
don't just find a picture online. I know how to reverse image
Correct.
search on Google.
Yep.
I will know you're lying.
We're not stupid. We are, but we don't have
very
CTV unlike
dumb.
another podcast dropping soon. We didn't cover that. Maybe next week.
I have 0 concussions that I know. Of,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're just stupid. We don't have CTE, just dumb. All right. Listen, thanks for listening to this podcast. Thanks for making it all the way through. If you make it to this point, then you're a real one, as we like to say. We appreciate you guys listening. Thank you to everyone that joined us over on YouTube. Appreciate you guys as well. We are back next week. We will have the Super Bowl matchup. Any number of things could happen in the sports world. We'll be here to talk about them, and we appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you next week. Thanks for being here.